What's up everyone, Zach here, and today we are going to be doing our UFC 324 betting breakdown. Let's get into the video. Alright, so we're going to be going over every single fight. We're going to be doing my best bet for each fight, who I think will win, going over some strengths, weaknesses, how I think the fight will go, and then at the end I'm going to be giving you guys out a parlay that I'll be riding with a good amount of cash, and then I will be taking every single one of these bets that I'm giving in this video, and we'll review it in the video next week before the next actual numbered card. They are no longer pay-per-views, so I guess we got to call them number cards now. But yeah, anyways, let's get into our first fight, and that is going to be Adam Pimblett versus Ty Miller. So Adam Pimblett, he's a grappler. He's kind of good at everything. He has a ton of experience in the UFC. I really don't see Adam Pimblett getting a knockout here, considering 60% of his fights that he has won has ended in a submission. Now, while Ty Miller is undefeated, he obviously is getting his first UFC fight here, so I think he's going to come into it fairly cautious. He already has the contract. I think he wants to get a win under his belt, and I think he can do that here against Adam Pimblett. He is going to most likely win by a decision here, just because I don't think he's going to throw caution to the wind. Now, Pimbett's very experienced. He has very good submissions, so I expect Ty to keep this on the feet, as well as outstrike him by a fair amount. I think this will be a one-sided affair. So my best bet is going to be Ty Miller by decision. Moving on to Josh Hockett versus Denzel Freeman. So Josh Hockett is going to be a power grappler. He's a very physical fighter. He does finish the majority of his wins. Actually, I believe he's finished 100% of his wins, at least in the UFC. Now, his cardio is something to be noted. I'm not sure how he looks if he gets to the third round, and I think that would definitely favor Denzel Freeman if he were to do that. However, I really don't see the fight going that way. I will get into that in a second. Denzel Freeman, on the other hand, he is going to be a pressure striker. He's tough. He has great takedown defense. And an interesting stat is that Freeman has been taken down in every single one of his losses. Kind of how I see this fight going. I think Josh Hockett will get the win here in the first two rounds. I think it'll most likely be by TKO. I think he'll take down Denzel Freeman. Now, if Freeman gets taken down, that usually leads to either a TKO or submission. So I'm going to be betting Josh Hockett here, KO or TKO. You can get a plus 275. Who knows by the time this video comes out. But I believe that plus 275 on his KO odds if he gets him to the ground, especially in round two. I could really see myself betting at least that prop, possibly even get it done in the third round. Who knows here, but I will go just by straight up TKO or KO for Josh Hockett at plus 275. Now, Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez. So we got a striker versus striker matchup. Alexander Hernandez does wrestle a bit, but Michael Johnson, he is getting a little bit older, but he is still fast. He is wildly inconsistent. It makes it hard to bet on. But he has wins over multiple former UFC champions. On the other hand, Alexander Hernandez, he's very explosive. He's more well-rounded. I would like to see him get this fight to the ground. However, I could see him also having some trouble if this does get to the third round. If Michael Johnson wins either of the first two rounds, I think he wins the third round and wins the fight. But I don't think that the fight is going to get out of there. I believe that Alexander Hernandez is most likely going to win in the first two rounds. But I've been kind of going back and forth between going Hernandez, within two, or by just going under 2.5 rounds, just in case Michael Johnson somehow gets something off, the early third round or late second. But I'll go with the under 2.5. It's about plus 120. So I'll lean that way. If you want to get a little bit more risky, I'd probably do it by Alexander Hernandez. But if it gets out of the second round, that bet is most likely cashed. So or not cashed, the opposite. Next up, we got Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. So we got a wrestler in Alex Perez versus a high volume striker in Charles Johnson. Alex Perez is very explosive. I expect him to look to take this fight to the ground pretty early. Now, again here, I don't really like to bet on fighters that, you know, fade when it gets into the later rounds. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Alex Perez. He's never won a fight by decision. I see him trying to, you know, submit him or KO him early. And then on Charles Johnson's side, he is very good at defending a takedown, or even if he's on his back, he's very good at, you know, not just getting mauled. And Charles Johnson does land 5 or more significant strikes per minute in the UFC. I'm going to go with Charles Johnson money line, you know, playing with the decision aspect, you know, just because I see him winning the decision if it gets there. But I don't know, I might change that later into a Charles Johnson by decision, but for now we'll go Charles Johnson money line at plus 145. If I go by decision, I'll lower the units a bit. Next up, we got Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. Probably, you know, didn't say that right, but either way, Krylov, he's a submission artist. He, you know, doesn't have a great chin in my opinion, but, you know, something to be said about him. He's most likely going to win this inside of the distance if he does. But I could see him also getting to a decision and losing. So it's either, you know, finish or bust with Nikita Krylov. Modestas Bukauskas, on the other hand, is a technical striker. He has distance control and not that great of clinch defense. So if this gets into the clinch, I could see Krylov taking this to the ground. I wouldn't be trying to play that game with Krylov, but he does have good distance control, so I don't see it getting there. Bukauskas has won by KO, sub, and decision in the UFC, so he can kind of do it however he wants. I'm going to lean Bukauskas money line. It is minus 150, or sorry, minus 145. So a bit of chalk there, but it's the only way I would play it in reality. Then we got Ateba Gaethje versus Andre Pulev. Gaethje, he's a power striker. He's very athletic. I do see him as having a bit more of a gas tank than some of the other guys we've been talking about. And he has a lot of experience. And he does finish most of his fights by KO, especially if he's winning. Pulev, on the other hand, he's very durable. He doesn't have a high output, and that doesn't lean, you know, very well for a decision if it goes there. And he also has gone to decision most of his pro fights. So I'll probably lean Gaethje by KO or TKO or decision, possibly just leaving the sub out of it. And I forget what exact odds those are, but you can look them up on FanDuel. Next up, my favorite fight that's not on the main card, we got Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Figueiredo obviously going up in weight, you know, year or two back, but he has finished every UFC title fight he had. He won by finish. Umar Nurmagomedov, obviously elite wrestler coming out of the Khabib camp. He has great control and cardio, but, you know, he doesn't have a very high finish rate, and that's going to lead into kind of where I'm picking this. This is heavy chalk. I believe it's like minus 1,400. He is undefeated as a pro. And Figueiredo on the other hand, he does have great wrestling defense, but going up against Umar, I just don't see Umar not getting a takedown in at least 2 of the rounds, and that's going to lead to my bet here. It's going to be a plus 150 Umar by decision. He doesn't really finish that often. Figueiredo doesn't, you know, get subbed all that often. So I'm going to lead Umar by decision because I don't see Umar TKOing him or KOing him either. So now into the main card, we got Arnold Allen versus John Silva. It's my favorite bet of the card, boys. So Arnold Allen, he's well-rounded. There was a span where he went 10 years unbeaten. Obviously, I was broken a few years back. But you know, he does have fairly low volume, but he has a high fight IQ when he lands. You know, it means something. And he does have very good defense. He frustrates a lot of people. Now, Jean Silva, obviously, if weren't for the loss to Diego Lopez, he would most likely be fighting for the title instead of fighting Arnold Allen, but here we are. He does have some defensive gaps. Diego Lopez definitely exploited that a bit. If he doesn't get the finish here, I don't see him winning. Now, I could see Arnold Allen, doing it in a couple ways. So I will go Arnold Allen by money, just straight up money line. I think you can get plus 240 on some books, probably going to land somewhere plus 225, plus 250. It's going to be my favorite bet. I don't think Jean Silva catches Arnold Allen. I think Alexander Volkanovski made a video. He's, in agreement there. I think Jean has to knock him out if he wants to win. And can that happen? Yes. And if you want to play the KO prop on John in rounds 1 or 2, I think that's a valid thing to do. But I will go with Arnold Allen and maybe even sprinkle in a little bit of decision there, just with $5-10. But yeah, next up we got Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Derek Lewis. These guys were hilarious in the press conference. A little bit of a language gap, and then Derek Lewis decides to, hey, I'm going to speak his language and call him I can't really say that on YouTube. I might get a little, a little bit of trouble. But, I mean, how much can you say about this? This is probably the most exciting fight of the night outside of Pimblett versus Gaethje. Now, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he is a, finisher. However, he's sort of like Cyril Gane in the aspect that he's very technical. When he knocks you out, it's not just because he's throwing haymakers. He's a very technical person, but he can get the KO. He's very rarely been knocked down, but if you're going to get knocked down by anyone, it is going to be Derek Lewis. We saw it in his last fight. Just absolutely beautiful. Derek Lewis, on the other hand, just KO artist. I mean, one of my favorite stories of the UFC is when Trump told him to knock the Russian guy out. I won't say it how exactly Derek said it, but he said, hey, Donald Trump called me up, got to knock this guy up. I got knocked this guy out, and he does it in the last round. It's beautiful. I mean, what more can you say? It's either Derek Lewis wins in the first round or he loses by decision. That's pretty much what's going to come down to. Or he could get knocked out as well, but I'm going to lean Derek Lewis by knockout here, or just his money lines plus 240 as well. I mean, he holds the UFC knockout record. He can add another one to his belt here. One of my favorite fighters in the UFC, Sean O'Malley, fighting Song Yadong. Sean O'Malley, what more could you say about this guy? Merab is his kryptonite, but I think he beats pretty much anyone outside of Umar. I think he beats Jan if they fight again. His range is just the most crisp in the UFC. No one can touch him if he doesn't want to. I just don't see, if you're not a wrestler, or at least very good at wrestling, I don't see anyone beating Sean O'Malley. He also has shown improvements, even in the Merab fight. Merab is just a different animal there, but in his takedown defense, I know obviously that's the reason he lost in both fights against Merab, but Merab is a different animal. Him and Umar, yes, probably definitely have Sean O'Malley's number. If O'Malley somehow gets to a title fight with Peter Yan, I see Sean O'Malley becoming champ again before Umar takes him, or they give Merab, the fight as well. So that's what I'm seeing right now. I don't even want to talk about Song Yadong, but yeah, he's a pressure boxer. Pretty much perfect for Sean O'Malley. He does have a lot of volume. He lands more strikes per minute than Sean O'Malley does, but he doesn't gauge distance well, and I think that's going to come back to bite him against Sean O'Malley. A perfect, Sean O'Malley can be there first. He's a great counter puncher. I think he's going to set something up, and I think Sean's going to take it by KO, and that's plus 300. Considering, Sean can win it, both ways. He can win either by decision or KO, but plus 300 on Sean's KO, I think, is just, a beautiful line, and I'm hammering it very hard. And finally, the main event, we are going to have Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. So Gaethje, what more can you say? I found it, very, honestly, very good promotion with him and Patty at the press conference, Gaethje was really kind of talking that crap. And I like it. Patty was trying to keep it mostly cordial, but he stood on business a bit when he said Dustin Poirier was, not what he used to be. Justin Gaethje didn't like that, most likely because he has a sick knockout over him with a head kick. No one really would have expected that before that fight. But yeah, I mean, Gaethje, he has great leg kicks. Trevor Whitman always comes in with a great game plan. And he's earned a bonus in pretty much every UFC fight he's ever been in. It's going to be an awesome fight no matter what. Paddy Pimblett, though, he shows that he can execute a game plan extremely well, especially against Michael Chandler. Pretty much anyone he's fought, he's shown that he can come in and execute what he came in there to do. He is amazing if he gets you to the ground. I mean, just that fight against King Bobby Green, you saw how slick he is. It honestly reminded me a bit of Bo Nickel when he had that contender fight where he just went straight from I believe it was a armbar into a triangle or whatever that was. That was one of the most slick things I've ever seen for submission. And then we see Paddy Pimblett just absolutely tear apart King Green. I mean, he does say he's a scouser. He can't get knocked down. He can get knocked down in this fight against Gaethje. Gaethje's a wild man. But I think he's a bit more cautious. I could see this going Paddy Pimblett by decision or even Paddy Pimblett sub. I don't have that line on me right now, but I think Paddy by sub/decision is a very good prop to bet there. Let's go over the 3-leg parlay. We're going to be taking Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. We're going to be taking Sean O'Malley and then Paddy Pimblett, and that's going to come right out to plus 300. It'll get you your boosts on your different apps. Usually that's what it's about. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be placing all these bets, and we'll go over how it went. We'll go over how it went on the video next week. If you guys like this, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll try to make it a bit more polished. Couldn't find my mic today. I used to do finance YouTube back in the day, but I've been watching UFC for 6 or 7 years now. Just wanted to come on here and make a YouTube video. I'll put some shorts out as well as a bit more in-depth breakdown on each fight. Please subscribe if you guys liked the video. Also leave a like and comment if you disagree on anything I said. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.